Hey, today we have Nandi who is studying to be a chef, and she is going to share her story and to share her experience in training as a chef. Nandi, if you could introduce yourself, say a bit more about yourself and your experience in training to be a chef, why you want to be a chef. Yeah.
Hi, Christine. Thank you so much for having me again. Like you said, my name is Nandi. I am a 19-year-old young lady, and I'm originally from Swaziland, but right now I stay in Cape Town. And I go to a culinary school in the area as well. It's about a 3-year course, but I'm in my second year at the moment. And then when I'm done, I'll be fully qualified and certified as a chef. And what got me interested in doing this job, I'd say, is because of my family, my mom, my grandmothers, the women in my family, basically, that sense of community when you're cooking together in the kitchen. For me, it's something I've always wanted to recreate, but on a bigger and more professional setting.
Okay. And how have you cooked since you're a small child? Have you tried like cooking with your mom, your grandma? Is it something that you did when you were younger?
Yeah, it's something I did a lot when I was younger. My mom and I would make macaroni and cheese all the time, and then I find myself like licking the not lick, but taking a spoon and scraping off the milk or whatever was on the pot to make the cream cheese sauce. Like all little small things. Then I do that with my siblings now when we're baking or cooking. So I've
Yeah.
always done it from a young age.
Wow. And so would you say if you never trained to be a chef, what else do you have any other interests that you'd
I
possibly
would
have pursued?
So I would be doing martial arts, judo per se. I used to do that and then I moved. So I started with the whole chef career. But I'd definitely be somewhere in the Olympics doing martial art, or I'd be going to drama school and acting.
Oh wow, like that's amazing. Like that's talent on a diverse scale. Like there's so much sounds like you can do. So tell me, is there like any specific kind of dishes that you enjoy making? Is there certain kinds of cuisines? Like is there such things that you've identified for yourself?
The cuisines I enjoy making are my own Swazi traditional food, just normal home cooked meals, some like the normal Sunday seven, several colors lunch type of thing, or Asian as well, or Italian, which is one of my favorites. But like meals that I really do enjoy making are hearty foods like stews, ossobuco with risotto, just yeah, simplified meals.
Oh, nice. Like, so what if you would give a quick, like a quick highlight of like a Swazi dish? What would be, what is it made of? Like, what's a common Swazi dish that people would make?
Well, on the plate, there's always got to be some starch, like a porridge of pap of some sort all the time. And
Mhm.
then there's a chakalaka on the side. There's a lot of greens, like spinach as well, some
Mhm.
butter. And then you've got to have the meat. The dish is not complete if you don't have meat of any sort. So
Okay.
normally, there's like, and they like insides. Either it's chicken insides, like intestines, or cow.
Hmm. Oh, wow. I mean, I already feel like I should have one of your dishes, one of the Swazi dishes. I should try it. So tell me, and do you do baking and that kind of thing, or are you just training to make like main dishes? Do you make desserts and such kinds of things?
Yeah, I do make desserts as well with the cooking. Just desserts are more finicky. They require much more attention to detail. And I just like throwing things inside a pot and seeing the outcome. And with making desserts, you have to be very specific with your measurements. So that's the only reason I don't bake as much, but I like baking a lot. It's so nice and rewarding.
Okay, for sure, it's rewarding. What comes out after baking is such a rewarding. I agree with you. It's rewarding. The results of baking is pure reward. So, tell
Yeah.
me, is this what you want to do, like to have like a business, being a chef, or Do you want to work for maybe a restaurant, or what do you see yourself doing in the future once you're done with your training?
So I'm done with my training. I definitely see myself going abroad, going overseas, to England maybe, and learning the tricks of the trade that side, then coming back here and implementing the skills I've learned that side. On a smaller scale, I see myself doing a little private chef thing on the side, as well as opening up a food truck, something that my aunt and I have always talked about, and then just going on the street to food markets and stuff like that.
Okay, so if I may ask you, what's the appeal? What's the appeal for England? Why does England appeal to you?
The appeal for England is that's for me where everything started, the foundation of this type of cooking that I'm interested in. So I want to go there and learn the basic of the basic, and then go up the ladder and using their skills and coming back here.
Okay, nice. And tell me, when you speak about being a private chef, is it something that you've tried? Have you tried being a private chef to anyone?
Yeah, I've tried being a private chef during this time when I was back home. I did a private chef thing. I went door to door, kind of like house calls, and I would go to people's houses, make the meals that they want, and it was a good time. I really enjoyed the experience. It was also a time for me to practice my skills because I hadn't cooked professionally in a while, so it was a good way for me to also use the resources.
Yeah. What would make you different from a home cook? Because someone would say, I can cook and, like place my food on the plate and it looks amazing. What would make you different from someone who can do such a thing when you tell them, I want to come and be your private chef? Why should they consider you instead of them just cooking by themselves?
Oh, they should definitely consider me because I've got more skill than a home cook. I know much more than what the ordinary person would know, what to put in exactly, what not to put in. If the person doesn't have something specific in their fridge, I can take whatever they have and make a dish that they didn't even know they could use with the ingredients that they have. Many of the little things that I've learned from industry and working in there that I can implement into the dishes that I make for people at their houses.
Yeah, and I'm sure like something like you've learned creative ways of like making use of what someone has in their house to make a nice meal for them, yeah? and
Yeah.
and yeah, and again, I mean, just thinking, when I go out to eat at like at a restaurant, I assume that it's done so, not assume, I expect it to be done so professionally, and for like for the presentation also to look amazing. So I would think that when you're doing that for someone as their private chef, then the same kind of quality is what you deliver to them, yeah?
Yeah, definitely. Especially the prestigious places that I've worked at, that quality that I'll be giving to the person is unmatched to what they'd be able to give themselves because I've worked at all the places they go and eat at, for instance. And like you're saying with the presentation, to make things on a plate look really pretty is harder than people actually think. So it's just you need to be flowy and natural. I think people always just like to put and assume. So it's a nice process also presenting things in their way because home cooks couldn't necessarily be able to do that.
Definitely. For myself as a home cook, it's not something presentation is not something I look for. I most times I just want
Yeah.
to just be full, and I'm just, yeah. So I completely agree. I mean, if someone was going to present to me in my house a meal so well done and presented as it would be in a restaurant, I mean, that would be amazing. So I think that's quite interesting, something that you'd look to pursue as an opportunity. But what opportunities do you think exist in like being a chef other than like being a private chef? What other opportunities would you be looking at?
Well, the opportunities you'd be looking at is working in a restaurant as well. You can go, there's different levels of working in the restaurant. There's the head chef, the sous chef, the person who comes under him. Then there's the people who just work in the restaurant as well. Then there's the private chef, like you've already mentioned. And then there's being your own person, your own brand, just like with me, with just a pinch. And then having your own line or ranges of sauces or relishes, like I do. And then there's just also having your own cafe. For instance, I used to have a bakery with my aunt in Joburg, and we make cakes and sell them out to other people. So there's many different lines that you could work in the trade.
Okay, so tell us a bit more about Just a Pinch, your brand of sauces that you've been doing.
Well, just the pins, like you said, is my brand, my baby. Worked on it for quite a while now. It's basically making sophisticated food relatable, elevating the standard palate, making them used to things that they'd be afraid of. For instance, just elevating a person's palate, elevating simplicity just a bit, getting people excited about food now. Because I think people just we eat because we have to eat. Then we only when we go out to restaurants we eat because we want and we're intrigued. So I want to bring that experience from the restaurant and bring it home.
Oh wow, that's amazing. Like I like what your appeal, the appeal for your brand is really to make someone enjoy their home cooked meal. Like that's how it sounds like that. I don't need to go to a restaurant to enjoy a meal there if I can use your recipe and make the same kind of meal in my house. Yeah? Is that what you're hoping for? To
Exactly.
like Okay. How long have you been doing it? And you have a YouTube channel. If you could speak a bit more about that.
Well, the YouTube channel I started recently, the beginning of the lockdown. I decided that I wanted to be more proactive and make sure that because I don't know how long it's going to go for, that I'm still using my skill, that I don't lose the touch that I have in the kitchen. I started the YouTube channel so that I can work on that. And it's doing really well, just a pinch on YouTube. So I've been doing that.
Okay, cool. Like that's really good use of time, if you ask me. Like over this COVID time when not much has been happening, that you've been able to look for other options to do things. That's quite amazing. So if you could tell us a bit more about like one of your best recipes in just a pinch, if you could just speak a bit more about that. Like, what's your best recipe?
My best dress, let me show you actually. See, even got a cookbook now.
Hmm.
It's called a porchetta. It's a pork dish that's stuffed with chicken livers, pork mince. It's got everything that you want that you didn't know that you needed. Let me find it. Ugh, taking so long.
Okay.
It's an Italian recipe as well.
Hmm.
Okay, here.
Hmm.
Looks a bit like this.
Oh, yeah. Looks yummy. I mean, wow. Okay. Hmm.
Yeah, it's pork that you stuff and you put a lot of love into it and you put in the middle of the table. Everyone's going to be eating it nonstop.
Looks, I mean, from what you just showed, looks like, yeah, the only thing you can do is eat it nonstop, you know. And
Yeah.
but tell me, what is there any kind of creativity or personal, like personal skill or personality that someone has to bring into making their own recipes, like just a pinch? I'm sure there's a lot of Nandi that your personality and like your attributes that you would find there. Is it something that someone would think about when they're coming up with that kind of thing?
Yeah, definitely it is. Your personality shows a lot on the food. Like when they say that you can see if a person put love in the food that they're making by how it looks, definitely comes into play with the personality thing as well. Because if you're more of an uptight person, your food is going to be more serious. And for me, I'm a more light-hearted person, bubbly, so my food is very vibrant and colorful, and it shows off in the food.
Oh wow. I like, yeah, sounds good already. I mean, that sounds like it's almost like if and also if someone is very creative, you'd possibly find a lot of creativity in the presentation of the dish, in how it's done. So there's quite a lot of personal uh I don't know, personality that comes out through someone's dishes, yeah.
Yeah, a lot of personality that comes out in the dishes.
So where are you looking to use your brand? Just a pinch. Do you have any plans for it? Do you like plan on expanding it, like just like building it a bit more, or what's the plan with just a pinch?
I definitely want to make it bigger and better, put it out there into the market, do big things with it. I do end up wanting to be on TV and have my own TV show for a bit to also bring that experience to the masses, not just in the form of a cookbook. So I really want to do big things with just a pinch, make people more excited and comfortable with food, that it's not just something we need to eat to live, but that we can enjoy the process of also cooking.
Yeah. Okay. We will definitely have you again and again to just make us want to more than just eat food and just like want to eat good cooked food.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah, and I think that's a really nice appeal that it would have to someone to just know that they can use your recipe and just like get to something that is really appealing to to them as they enjoy the meal, which I think is amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So tell me, what challenges does someone face who is training to be a chef? What's the main challenge? Like, what have you found to be the pain point of in your training to be a chef?
Challenges, many sacrifices, many sacrifices. You've got late hours that you have to be working, and you have to come in the morning super early for work, and you repeat, and you don't have holidays off because on holidays people go out to
Mm.
restaurants, so you have to be
Yeah.
working. That also
Mm.
type of thing. So it's hard. Many sacrifices. Christmas that you're gonna miss with your family, and New Year's birthdays. So sad things, but if it's really something that you want to do, you're going to make it.
Yeah, actually, that's quite true because over the holidays when everyone else is off, they are going to look for food. So definitely
Mm-hmm.
when it's holiday time, it's most probably your busiest time. Like that will be the time that you're working at your hardest when everyone else is resting. Yeah.
The busiest time, especially New Year's, Christmas, that time, people always going out buying stuff. So it's always busy by that time. You can't really get to sit down and enjoy your own Christmas.
Okay. I mean, wow. Yeah, that's quite a challenge. I can see how that would be a challenge. But what inspires you to keep going? What, despite the fact that over Christmas, most Christmas or New Year's, you'll possibly be working. What inspires you to keep going? What makes Nandi want to train and just be that professional chef? What keeps you going?
My love and my passion for it, definitely. If I didn't have it, I was going to leave it ages and ages ago. The determination, I don't know exactly how I'm going to get to where I want to go, but the fact that I know I've got something to do in this industry just keeps me going and keeps me grinding, as well as my friends and my family, my faith in that I wouldn't be put in a situation that I wouldn't be able to handle. Having a circle that supports you and loves you and reminds you what you're doing is important. So those are the things that keep me going all the time.
Okay, that's good to hear. And what would you tell someone who is looking to train to be, who is looking at options of what they want to do with their life and they're not sure, should I try to be a chef? I love cooking, but is this something for me? What would you tell to such a person to like get them thinking of being a chef as a possible thing to pursue?
It's hard. It's a lot of hard work. That's the one thing I tell the person. Many sacrifices, like I've already said, with the holiday things. You're going to have a very tough skin because sometimes the kitchen gets very heated and it's cutthroat. People say things they don't mean in the moment, and you're going to have to understand that they're not saying it to you or about you. It's just the anger and the frustration that's going on in the kitchen. So it's a very cutthroat environment, but if you love it, you're going to make it far.
Okay, I feel like we should get a bit of background story of what happens in the kitchen. Now that you sound to be like to be in the heat of things, literally in the heat in the kitchen, and things can really get heated up. So what is it really like? Like, is it a very fast environment, and do you have to think on your feet, be quick, and also like know what to hear and not what to take seriously from people? How is it like? What is it like being in the kitchen?
Well, during service, whenever the customers start coming in, it's when it gets serious. So everybody you have to make sure that you've got everything that you need. You always have to have more because some people could just be walking in. And then once the orders start coming in, they start piling up. You need to be on your A game because if you're in charge of that particular section or that part on the menu, when it comes to you, you need to make sure that everything is done. Normally, my sections, everything has to be done within a minute, I'd say. So you have to be very quick. You have to keep on rolling, come kind of like at a fast food shop, but you're not at a fine dining. So everything is prepared. You've got your plate. You need to put it on all the time, consistent. It just keeps coming and coming and coming, and you can't fall off that horse. So when someone in the kitchen does something wrong, it's like a domino effect, and everyone just gets hindered by what that one person did. So then the chef gets a bit angry and frustrated and says something to you that they don't mean, and so you just have to brush it over your shoulder and then move on until you're done.
Oh wow. I mean, sounds quite intense. And what you say, I mean, as interesting as it sounds like it can be quite intense for someone looking to like do this as their career. I mean, I think that's such good information to have. Like, you really almost need to have to be quick, but also to like sort of have like a thick skin against any a lot of things that would happen in the kitchen.
Yeah, definitely needs to have thick skin. I wish someone had told me that when I was coming in. I didn't think it was going to be all rainbows and lollipops, but I just wish someone would have told me it's going to be very hard in the kitchen once it starts getting hot. That's just something very important that people need to know if they're going to be interested in pursuing the career.
Okay, yeah, that's thanks for saying that. Hopefully someone who hears this will know what it is they're getting themselves into. Like, honestly, this is what you're getting yourself into.
Mm-hmm.
And so tell me, is is being a chef a highly valued skill in South Africa? Is it like something that someone says, I'm a chef, and everyone thinks, wow, like that's really a skill that we are looking for? Do you think so?
Neither here nor there. Right now, where we are, I feel like it's not a highly valued profession because many people on Instagram or on all social media platforms, many home cooks call themselves chefs. And so the audience goes to those people because their pictures look nice and everything, but they don't deserve the title because they didn't go the professional route to claiming themselves as a chef. So in this day and age, people don't respect chefs. Everyone just calls themselves a chef very loosely when they aren't actually a chef. But so that's, I think it's part of my responsibility and the people that come after me and people in my generation to make sure that it becomes a highly valued skill because everyone needs to eat, but at the same time we need to appreciate and acknowledge that there are people who actually work to gain the title.
Okay, and yeah, that's quite interesting what you say, that someone can just call themselves a chef and really has never gone to school to get it. But tell me, what really makes a chef a chef? Is what makes you a chef, that you can put together an amazing meal, or is there much more to it? Is there much more to being a chef other than the fact that I, as Christine, can make a meal? Is there much more to being a chef than just cooking?
Yeah, I feel there's much more to being a chef other than cooking. Firstly, it's the title, which is very important. And then the skill that goes into it, the long hours that you put into it, the recipe curating, making sure that what's on your menu is not on the other person's menu and that they can't get access to it as well. And setting trends also, like any other profession, like with fashion, for instance, you have to set the trends so that other people follow it. And with being a chef, you have to be the person to set the trends that other people follow and are interested in. And so it's more than just putting food on a plate. There's so much more behind the scenes.
Okay. And I think that's what maybe someone would not appreciate who just doesn't think like it's a valued skill to have. Maybe it's because you just think of it as someone can just cook a meal. You really don't if you don't know what it is like being a chef, you really don't know what's the difference between Nandi, who is a trained chef, and someone who can just put a meal together. I think that's also something to think. Yeah, to the defense of us people who just walk into a restaurant, you just know those guys make such nice food. You don't know if they are
Mm-hmm.
actually trained chefs or yeah, you really don't know. But yeah, that's quite a
I
good point.
don't.
Yeah. So to just like maybe end this, is there like any kind of like recipe that you're trying to like learn? If you're to learn, actually, let me put it this way. If you're to learn a recipe and perfect yourself and say this is what I want to be known, my brand to be known for, what would that be? Like would it be like Swazi food, or what would it be? Like the pork recipe that you spoke about. What is that skill that you want your brand to be known for? Like when someone hears Nandi, they just stop and say, wow, like these are the people who make this kind of food. Is that something that you're looking for? Like to like the best Swazi food, just go to Nandis? Or how do you want your brand to look like, to be known for?
I wanted to be known for the fusion of the Swazi culture with Italian and English and a bit of Asian, to put all of that in it to make something bigger, because Swazi is very organic resources and it's very fresh. Take things from your garden, you put it in. That's the same thing with Italian. So learning from them and putting it into Swazi food using the ingredients that are only found in Swaziland. There's many things that I've realized that are in Swazi backyards, but nobody really knows about or how to prepare them. So when other people come to my place or to come and try something new, they wouldn't be coming from abroad to come and taste food they already know, but something new and exciting.
Yeah, okay. I think that's quite interesting. Maybe we should like someday also hear you speak about like the foods that you say like they're just like you possibly have them in your kitchen garden in Swazi, like people will have them, but they really don't know how to cook them or how to go about using them to make their dishes look amazing. Like you just possibly just think these are just herbs that we have, but just take them for granted. You really don't know what they can do to a meal. So I think it's also something to educate people about. Tell them, like you can use this for your meals and it's really available to you and you can use it and it's like it's really going to make your meals taste amazing or maybe make them more healthy. Yeah. And
Yeah,
are you
definitely. There's many.
just go on.
It also comes into play with sustainability. Like there's this pumpkin in Swaziland and it's got the leaves that grow on top of it. Many people will throw the leaves away and just eat the pumpkin, but the leaves is also very nutritious and we make kind of like almost a spinach type, sweat down the leaves, and it tastes very, very nice. Many people don't know that and they just throw it away. So some things like that, just making the public aware of the things we're throwing away.
Yeah, and actually now that you mention it, if I may ask, do you think that there's also like you being a chef can help in saving on wasting food? Like just what you're saying, you throw away parts of maybe a plant or parts of something that could really be eaten, and that because you don't know or you just don't think it like to be something that you can make something out of. Do you think that could also help in reducing wastage for a home in if they knew a bit more about cooking and that kind of thing?
Definitely with education, especially because even like pumpkin seeds, you can use them to put them in the oven and blend them, and you've got some texture for your dish. And it gives you this nice nuttiness and smokiness without having to go out to the shops and buying something that is going to be way out of your budget. And using many different things that, like with eggs as well, if you're making something that uses egg whites, the eggs, like what do you do with it except make toast with egg in the morning? You can make a cake out of those things. But it's just knowing and having that background and education that I'm fortunate enough to have, to know that not everything needs to be thrown away.
Yeah, that's quite that's really some good information to have. And if I may ask, also like related to that, are you do you consider the health of a meal when you make it? Like how healthy is it when you're making it, or do you just like just make a meal? Do you have to weigh the health benefits of this meal and that meal that I'm making?
Not all the time, but I'd say 40% of the time I do look at the nutritions and the nutrients that go into the food. Yeah, about 60% of the time, especially the oils that we use. Sometimes I use coconut oil if I really feel like I've been eating too many fatty things that week, just so that everything in the dish is balanced and it isn't fatty and it's got the nutrients that you need as well.
Okay, that's quite that's yeah, that's good to know, like at some point there is some some health balance when someone is making a meal in a restaurant. It's yeah, it's good to know that. And so Nandi, if you have any final thoughts that you'd say about yourself, your training to be a chef, about just a pinch, what would it be?
Well, it came at the time of now that we're living in with the COVID-19 things and how it has really changed the industry that I'm working in, especially with the fine dining. People are used to going out and eating and having the environment open. Now it isn't going to be like that. There's many changes that are coming up, especially with like now people are making the fine dining foods at the restaurant and sending them to your home. So you have that experience at home with the type of food that you expect to get out, not just fast food now. And yeah, with my brand, Just a Pinch, is something that I'm really working hard on, taking my time with it. I really want to perfect it as much as I can and have it grow big. And obviously, you can find it on YouTube, and all my information is there.
Okay, cool. Nandi, thank you so much for sharing yourself, your story with us. And we will be checking up on you constantly to see how Just a Pinch is doing and how your training is going to be a chef, and to see any new recipes, any new recipes that Just a Pinch is having. And thank you so much for your time.
Thank you so much for having me again. I enjoyed speaking with you.
Not a problem, Nandi. I enjoy speaking with you, especially about food. That's quite an
Yeah,
interesting topic to have, and we can have it the whole day. But thanks a
all
lot.
day can never get bored.
Yeah.
Welcome.